Welcome back to Diligent Canine, and today I wanted to follow up on a post that I made to my Instagram yesterday. I did a short rant about controlling your dogs and public safety, leash laws, things like that, and I wanted to expound upon that in a little more detail. So, first, I'll specifically go over the incident that happened yesterday. And I was walking my dog through my neighborhood. I went to our neighborhood park, worked out on the playground, and I was walking my dog back to my house. Same neighborhood, same street that I walk up and down every single day. And I heard barking behind me, not uncommon, and I happened to look over my shoulder and saw a 100-pound intact male cane corso barreling out from a backyard fence and coming down the street towards me. Now, my dog Dean is about 75 pounds, and I'm not a very large person. I'm about 5'8" and 160 pounds. So, I didn't have any tools on me, no pepper spray, no firearms, no stick, baseball bat, none of that. And the dog is coming down the street at me in a very pronounced aggressive manner. Now, I didn't have a lot of options here, so what I did do was immediately pulled my dog Dean behind me. Okay, so he was like behind my hip on my left leg, and I bowed up, as basically making myself as big as I could, and I had to look as mean as I could to convey the message to the dog that if you continue to come, I'm gonna mess you up. Now, that sounds ridiculous, but you have to believe it because you can't fake it with the dog in that situation. Now, I'm going to take a sidestep here and explain that if you were to keep walking, and especially if you keep running, you have now incited the dog's prey drive even more. You have become an object to chase. So it might have been curious or interested and, aggressive before, but now, once you give chase, you're done. That dog is faster than you. It will catch you. So, I chose to stand my ground. And in this case, you can't fake it. That dog is going to know more about your eye movements and micro movements of your mouth and your ears. Every little twitch you make, dogs are so attuned to that. You have to sell the performance. We're not just trying to win an acting award here. You have to believe it because the dog will be able to tell. So what happened in that situation then was that the dog did stop maybe 15, 20 feet away or so, and it kind of growled, a low growl, and then it kind of turned, gave me like the side eye, and then it turned all the way, exposing its side, still kind of like a low growl, and then it started to walk back towards its house once the owner came out and started calling it. Now, with the owner calling, the dog did not come back. The dog was going back because it was tired of the situation. There was no leash, no collar, no tags, nothing on the dog. Human comes out the front door yelling and screaming at their dog to come back, and of course the dog doesn't really listen. It just goes back when it's ready. And this is a huge problem. For one, I live in a concealed carry state. I don't like the idea of, or nor do I want to have to, but I'm not opposed to having to shoot the dog to protect myself. A 100-pound cane corso is not a small situation to deal with. And like I said, I don't want to do that. I don't want to, like I said in the short video, I don't want to hurt somebody else to defend myself, but I will if I have to. And I don't want to have to hurt another dog to protect my dog either. I would rather everybody be responsible with their dogs and maintain control of them. So, I've also been on the other side of this situation a little bit, and that is something that really frustrates me. I've had this discussion with lots of other dog owners, in particular other large dog owners, that there seems to be an issue in our culture in America with small dogs in particular, where their people feel entitled to bring said small dogs everywhere, and that their annoying and otherwise unacceptable behaviors are tolerable. And in fact, they're cute and adorable. That is not true. The situations that I'm talking about is when it doesn't have to be a small dog, but any other dog comes barreling down the street, barking at me or my dog. Dean is going to attack that dog. He will not hesitate to fight back, and he is super chill around people. He has no problems with cars, highway traffic, public places, none of that. If another dog is chill, he'll gladly return the favor. But if the dog has an attitude or poor boundaries, he has no tolerance for BS from other dogs, and he shouldn't have to either. Let's look at this in a human perspective. If I walk out to my mailbox and I open the mailbox, I look over, I see my neighbor across the street is opening his mailbox as well. I look down to get my mail, reach in, pull the mail out, I look back up, and my neighbor is screaming at the top of his lungs and running towards me. He can expect to get punched in the face, and he should. That's a reasonable response. But this happens all the time in the dog world. People don't pay attention to their dogs. I've seen it time and time again. They walk out of or around the pet store with their face glued to their phone and their dog just pulling away at the end of a 6-foot leash, and there is no regulation of its behavior. That's not acceptable. It's the same when they're looking at something on the shelf and the dog is just like pulling the leash all the way around, and especially in the confines of a store, 6 feet, a lot of things can happen in like a 6-foot space. So that is not okay. That's not okay for people to do. This brings me to petting dogs. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous how many people assume that your dog is, public property or something, that they can just come up and pet the animal. And that's not okay either. Asking to pet a dog is always the best. You should always do that. You should teach your kids to do that. That should go without saying. But I have to say it. And if somebody tells you no, you need to respect that. If you don't respect that, you have issues. You have some kind of hang up with yourself that you feel entitled to just go pet someone else's animal. You wouldn't ask a stranger on the street if you can drive their car. You wouldn't ask them to wear their shoes. Why would you just assume that you could do those things or that you could touch their animal? In fact, if I walk down the street and just start petting a woman's hair and groping her ears, I go to jail for that kind of behavior, as I should. It's not acceptable. It's not acceptable either for people to just reach into a strange crib or a stroller and start pinching a baby's cheeks or tickling their belly. It's creepy. It's not acceptable, and it's illegal in many cases. It's not different for dogs. Stop it. Do not do that. You need to ask somebody if you can pet their dog, and you need to respect their personal decision because it is their personal dog. You don't know what that dog is capable of. You don't know anything about that person. Let's take a bad situation here, okay? You think that strong, handsome, friendly-looking Shepherd or Malinois at the park looks friendly, and you just walk up and you decide you're going to pet it because you're a dog whisperer or you're good with animals. And then before you even touch fur, you've got 3 broken bones and you need about 40 stitches if you're lucky, because that was a retired Special Forces dog. That's not the dog's fault. It's not the handler's fault. You're an idiot. So control your animals, people. And they are your responsibility. There are leash laws for a reason. If you can't control your dog, it doesn't matter how friendly you say it is. If your dog goes into another dog's space, that dog has the right to defend itself. However, this is another big stigma in our society. or at least it seems this way to me, where people, when I, as a human, am accused of a crime, I, in this country, in America, am innocent until I'm proven guilty. But it doesn't seem to be that way for the dogs. If in that situation I just described, a little dog comes yapping and running across the park while I'm just sitting down minding my business with my dog, and mine bites it, the public and media perspective is that my dog is the one with an issue because it did the biting. And when it comes to he said versus she said, my dog did the biting. That's not accurate. It's not an accurate representation of what happened, and it sure as heck isn't fair. Okay? It's not the right thing to do. You need to control your dog. Be safe, people. Control your animals. Control yourself. Well, the name of my business, stay diligent. Pay attention to your surroundings. Pay attention to other dogs. This is why I created the Patreon channel and the YouTube channel. This is why I put these videos out. Learn to read your dog. Learn to pay attention to your dog's behavior. Pay attention to other dogs' behavior. Pay attention to your surroundings. Owning a dog is a lot of work and a lot of responsibility. It's not a free pass. So, thanks for watching, and I hope you continue to support Diligent Canine so that I can continue to support retired military working dogs. Peace out.